Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. It looks like the proposed Matchroom versus Golden Boy 5 versus 5 is beginning to take shape, because we know all about 5 versus 5 with Queensberry versus Matchroom, but there are plenty of fights that can be made between Eddie Hearn's lot and Oscar De La Hoya's promotional company. And it is rumoured, quite strongly rumoured, by none other than Turki Al-Sheikh, that heading the 5 versus 5 would be Jai Opetaia against ZURDO Ramirez, which I think is probably one of the most anticipated fights of 2025. It's certainly one that I would sort of, cherry pick if I had a magic wand and say, right, I want that one. Yeah. And a lot of people are picking Jai to sort of smoke ZURDO. I don't actually think it's that straightforward. I like Jai Opetaia a lot, but I think there's potential for Ramirez to give him plenty of problems. And I think, although as much as I like Opetaia, I like watching him, I like the way he carries himself, I like his style, I do think some people are getting a bit carried away. Okay, I've seen plenty of comments saying the only person who can beat Usyk is Jai Opetaia, which is what Eddie Hearn said, which is nonsensical. But I think Usyk would stand Jai up on his head, and that's not because I dislike Jai Opetaia. It's just that I think Usyk's way, way too good and currently too big for him. I think he'd knock him out, actually. But Opetaia versus Ramirez, thankfully, is the one people are talking about, because Opetaia definitely has unfinished business at cruiserweight, as does Ramirez. I mean, this would be for the WBA, WBO, and IBF titles. Unification. You've got to conquer your own division before you move on and try and conquer others. That's what Holyfield did. That's what Usyk has done. And, David Haye, before he moved up to heavyweight and beat a 7-foot giant, 7'2" giant, for the WBA title, he unified at cruiser. I think did he hold 3 of the belts, because he had the unification with Enzo Maccarinelli, didn't he? Blew him away. But yeah, I want to see this fight. I desperately want to see this fight, and it will be a fantastic headliner for any kind of 5 versus 5. Now, when you consider the fighters that Matchroom and Golden Boy have, I mean, Shakur Stevenson is currently with Matchroom. Virgil Ortiz is with Golden Boy. A couple of them are actually on. Well, I mean, Stevenson is facing Floyd Schofield, isn't he? He was a Golden Boy fighter. And Israel Madrimov, Ortiz is Golden Boy. Israel Madrimov, I think, is currently with Matchroom. So we've got a couple of them on the February 22nd card, on the Riyadh card, and they're good fights. They're very, very good fights. I mean, Shakur Stevenson is not the most exciting of fighters. I think he beats Floyd Schofield. But Madrimov versus Ortiz is a very, very good matchup. I'm really interested to see how that one goes. But don't forget, there are other fighters. William Zepeda of Golden Boy, Jaron Ennis, Matchroom. And that's not to say that the ones who are fighting on the 22nd of February can't be recycled, or that's a bit of a harsh term, isn't it? But given a second chance. I mean, again, bear in mind what Turki Al-Sheikh said recently, which was music to my bloody ears, which is that zeros don't matter anymore. We want the best fights, and if you lose, it don't matter. Give a good account of yourself, you can come back. So I'm really looking forward to this little soiree that they're going to have. I like these 5 versus 5 matchups. I thought that the one between Matchroom and Queensberry was brilliant last year. It might have been my favourite card of last year. This one it's proposed for mid-year, summertime, sometime in May, June, July, possibly. And of course, we're, over halfway through January already. So time flies. Trust me, the older you get, the more it flies. But I think one of the, just going off at a bit of a tangent here, but one of the Matchroom fighters that I think really needs a big fight soon is Jaron Ennis, Boots Ennis, because when he signed to Matchroom, everyone was like, whoa, that's a real coup for Matchroom. And it was, because Ennis is a brilliant fighter. But he seems stuck between two weights right now, because he didn't look great against Chikadzian in the rematch. There's talk of him struggling to make 147 comfortably, although he can make it. He talked about moving up to 154. Either he's got to go for unifications at 147, or if he has outgrown the weight, go up to 154, where, of course, Bud Crawford's knocking around. I know they want to put him in with Canelo, which just drives me mad, that sort of crap. But talk about a gimmick fight. I hate gimmick fights. You know, this ain't the Harlem Globetrotters, or the boxing equivalent of. Leave all the gimmick stuff to Misfits and YouTube and all that crap. You know, let them get on with it. If it's there to be enjoyed, it ain't my thing. I like proper boxing, and when I hear about these catchweight fights, I just think it's a lot of crap. But anyway, Ennis needs to really piss or get off the pot now. He needs to be matched properly, because it was mandated, the rematch with Chikadzian, and the IBF are very strong on their mandatories, and sometimes they have mandatories which you just roll your eyes and think, what the hell is that person doing as a mandatory? But now that that's out of the way, we want Ennis in big, proper fights that are going to build his legacy, let him rise through the ranks, become, a pound for pound on everyone's lips, and also, as well as build a legacy, make huge money. That was the mission statement by Matchroom when they signed him, and that's the way it should be. So put him on this 5 versus 5, definitely against a real killer, either at 147 or 154. But the guy, if he's going to fulfill his potential, he needs to be matched properly now with the higher study. We've heard all the talk, and I'm a show me guy. Talk all you like, but I want to see some evidence, so on. He's very, very good. And if with other fighters, for example, William Zepeda, and Ortiz have both looked perhaps not as robust or as even though they're both very, very good fighters, very entertaining fighters, there are possibilities where they could be beaten. I mean, Ortiz didn't look great last time out, did he? Zepeda has looked. I mean, vulnerable is too strong a word, but you can see if you put them in with certain people, they could be beaten. Do you know what I mean? So there's plenty of matchups there as well. And like I say, you might get a wild card going in. I mean, let's say, for example, if Ortiz was to lose to Madrimov, and that's certainly not a foregone conclusion that he wins, Madrimov remains very sort of unfancied, often overlooked fighter. And, even if he was to, say, lose a close fight to Ortiz, sticking back on the 5 versus 5. I mean, he lost to Bud Crawford, but he gave Bud a hell of a fight. It was a good fight. Good, strong performance by Madrimov. And Madrimov hasn't got that many pro fights. What has he got, 11 or 12 or something? There's not many, is it? Or am I thinking of someone else? I'd have to check on that one. But the point is that, if you're given an opportunity on one of these Riyadh cards, one of these 5 versus 5 cards, and you lose but put up a great performance, you can come again. Because people are going to go, oh, yeah, that guy gave so-and-so a really good fight. Yeah, I'd watch him again. There is no substitute in boxing for fighting the best. That's your opportunity. And even if it doesn't quite go your way and you lose, like Willie Hutchinson against Buatsi, he come off the floor, was it a couple of times? Was he on the floor twice? He was definitely on the floor once. It was twice. But, he went the distance. He hung tough. He showed a lot. He'll be invited back on a 5 versus 5, no doubt, because defeats don't define you, as we've said so many times before. And that's one of the things I love about the 5 versus 5s, and I still think, by the way, I might do a separate video on this, but I think Eddie's a little bit reluctant to do a 5 versus 5 with Queensberry. You know why? Because he hasn't got any heavyweights. Last time out, he had to go and rope him Wilder, didn't he? We know how that finished with Zhele Zhang. But he's got no heavyweights. And Frank Warren has said straight away, oh, I'd obviously pick heavyweight. Why wouldn't he? Bloke's got about 10 heavyweights you can slot in there, including one of the belt holders. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Let me know what you think. Jai Opetaia versus ZURDO Ramirez would probably be top of the tree, but there are lots of other good fights that could be made. So let me know what you think, and which fights would you make? Put your suggestions down below, and yeah, great. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button. You know the drill. You know what I'm going to say. I say it every time. I do appreciate you leaving your comments and watching the video, and I will answer as many as I can, but I certainly do read your comments. I don't get a chance to answer all of them because it's just too many, but I do read them. It's good bedtime reading. Nice cup of tea. Get the old phone out, read the comments. Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.